My name is Bethany Harcourt, and I am teaching a 4th grade science lesson using an ISTE student standard knowledge constructor. Students use effective research strategies to find resources that support their learning needs, their personal interests, and their creative pursuits. Okay. Good morning, class. So I have a pressing question for all of you today. Since we're coming to each other from the computer, I want to know, what's powering our computer? How is our computer getting the electricity that we need to see each other today? What about the lights in our rooms, the air conditioners? Where is this power coming from? I have an answer for all of you today. The power that we get comes from electricity. And we know that electricity comes from different resources in the earth. Those resources are used to make energy in the form of gas, electricity, and other types of fuel. We have renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources are resources that exist, they replenish themselves. They replenish themselves over time pretty quickly, and they're not going to run out in our lifetime. So one example of that is solar energy. Is the sun going to run out? No, it's there every day. We could use it for the rest of our lifetimes, and it's never going to run out. Non-renewable energy does run out. There's only a little bit of it on the earth, and we could use it up because it doesn't keep making itself. One example of that is coal. Coal is a little rock. It's found under the ground. Once it's gone because it takes a really long time to make. So today we are going to be each of you are going to be researching an energy source to determine if it's renewable or non-renewable. We're also going to determine where it comes from on the earth and the impact that it has to the environment. Every time we use a resource, whether it's just from drinking water, using wood, or using all of these different resources for energy, they have some type of impact on our environment. Like if we moved into a forest and we wanted to build a new town for all of us together, building one house would take a few trees, right? But if we each wanted a house, we'd be cutting down all of the trees. Soon, we'd all have houses, all the trees would be gone. What would be the impact on the environment? What do we think? Well, there'd be no more trees, which means no more shade. It would be hot. We'd be living in a very hot environment. We know that trees make oxygen and they clean the air, so our air quality wouldn't be so good. And we know that a lot of animals live in trees. We have birds, we have squirrels. There's so many other animals that live in trees. If all the trees are gone, where do they go? They don't have homes anymore and they have to leave. So those are the impacts that these things have on our environment. And all of these energy sources that we use have impacts as well. So to figure all of this out, we are going to be using the internet to research. Now, when we use the internet, you can find all kinds of things on the internet, right? You guys all know that. But we need to make sure that we are finding accurate and reliable resources on the internet. That's very important for a number of reasons. I'm going to show you this picture. This says, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet." A quote by Abraham Lincoln. Now, some of you are kind of making some silly faces. Does that make sense? We know that Abraham Lincoln lived a long time before the internet was created, right? He didn't say that. We know he didn't say that, but if you don't know who Abraham Lincoln is, then you might think he actually did say that. This picture shows us that anybody can make information and put it on the internet. And it's our job to decide what information is true and accurate. So true and accurate information that we find helps us know the difference between facts and made-up opinions. So for example, you stumble upon the website that's called MissHarcourtKnowsEverything.com. And it says that the leaves are green on trees because a little leprechaun comes around and sprinkles this little green leprechaun dye on all of the leaves, right? That sounds kind of funky. true at all. Does Miss Harcourt Knows Everything.com sound like a very reliable website? Not necessarily. Now, if we go to a science website, a trusted science website, and we see that it says leaves are green on trees because of a chemical called chlorophyll that's being made in the leaves, which one do you think we might trust a little bit more? I think we trust the science website for giving us reliable information. Having good and reliable research helps us from, well, it stops us from believing things that aren't true and from spreading things that aren't true. And it gives us the right tools to be able to research and succeed in our schoolwork and in our jobs. So, we can find good and reliable research on the internet in different ways, but something that's important is how you search. So, say I want to look up wind energy. I type in, hey Google, tell me about wind energy. Is it good? Is it bad? What does it do? Wind energy. That's a lot of words, right? I see all kinds of different things. I see just videos about wind. I see severe weather 101. We're not interested in severe weather. I see different things. The impact of wind speed on health. That doesn't have anything to do with what we want. We end up getting all kinds of things. Does wind change your mood? That's not any information that's going to be helpful to us with this research project. So we don't want to look up long, wordy things where you just say whatever you say about wind. We need to come up with some more specifics. So let's see. What if we just type in wind? Just wind. I want to know about wind. If I type in wind, surely that'll give us some answers, right? I typed in wind. What do I have? The weather. The weather. Information on wind. I have forecasts. I have wind definition from the dictionary. Radar. So many things that are not useful to what we are trying to research. So we have to get specific. We have to model. We have to come up with some good research queries so we can get the information that we want. So let's think about it. We're going to extract the noun. The noun in this case is wind, right? Wind energy. That's what we want to know about, wind energy. So wind energy is a good place to start. If we just type in wind energy, we're going to get all kinds of things about wind energy, and you're going to have to read through a lot of things. But since we're talking about, we want to know some challenges, some impacts on the wind energy has on the environment, right? So we could type in wind energy pros and cons. Think about what you want to know and type that in specifically. A lot of times it's helpful for us to, if maybe we add wind energy pros and cons for kids. That way we maybe get things that are a little more comfortable for our reading levels, comfortable for us to understand instead of some big scientific journals perhaps. But I typed in wind energy pros and cons, and let's take a look at what we found. The first one says advantages and challenges of wind energy. Advantages, pros, challenges, cons, wind energy. Perfect. That looks good. That's from the Department of Energy, energy.gov. Now, at the end of websites, you're going to see these little dot and letters, .com, .org. You've seen those. Certain websites are more reliable than others. So if you see a website that ends in .gov, .gov, that's a government website. And a lot of times a government website is going to be more reliable. It's going to have accurate information put there by the government. So you're going to find some good information there. I have the top pros and cons of wind energy advantages and disadvantages. Let's keep looking. Let's see, I've also got wind energy facts. Oh, facts. That's a good thing because we want to know, is it renewable or non-renewable? We want to know where it comes from. Facts are good. advantages and disadvantages. And this is from Caltech Science Exchange. We're going to look at the website, and it says scienceexchange.caltech.edu. EDU is another little letters we can find at the end. That means education. So if you see .edu, that often means it's coming from a school. It's coming from some type of school, college, things where professional researchers and scientists have put their knowledge on that website. So we know that those are often more reliable as well. So another thing that we are going to do, we're going to use a kid-safe search engine. So I have kidssearch.com is the search engine that we're going to use. It's got your little bar up here. We can type in wind energy pros and cons, and it comes and shows us all of these things. I see .gov, I see .edu, and these kid-friendly search engines are great for kids because they cut out a lot of stuff that maybe we don't need to see online. Because there are definitely things that we, you guys, as kids, shouldn't be looking at online. It also helps find more kid-friendly resources. So they're easier for you to read and easier for you to look at. So here's our 3 things, okay? 3 things for us. We are coming up with good search queries. We are looking for reputable sites that maybe end in .gov or .edu, and we are using our kid-safe search engine. Those are things we're going to be working on today. So I am going to assign each of you your own resource. Once you get that resource, you are going to start brainstorming 3 to 4 specific keyword combinations. So you're not just going to be typing the same thing in. You're not just going to be blah, 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 typing in anything that comes out of your mouth, right? You're going to be thinking about that noun. What are you researching? And maybe some scientific terms that go with it that helps answer the question, what am I trying to find? Once you have those 3 to 4 specific keywords, I'm going to check those off for you, and then you are going to use those keywords to do some research, type those in, and try to find websites that give good, accurate information to answer all of our questions.